London-listed Kavango Resources, Epic code KAV, is developing several key nickel, copper and rare earth assets and is currently in the middle of an exciting and potentially transformational drilling campaign at the Ditau Farms rare earth project in Botswana. I'm joined today by Chief Executive Ben Turney and Chief Operations Officer Brett Grist. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Hi there, Alan.
Good afternoon, Alan.
Good afternoon, both. It's been a transformational year for Kavango with solid drilling progress at the vast Kalahari Suture Zone project. We're going to get to that shortly, but firstly, can you bring us up to speed on the latest drilling developments at the Ditau Farms Rare Earths project, which of course is a joint venture with Power Metal Resources?
Yes, thanks, Alan. We're making good progress. We're drilling three really quite different geophysical targets there in a corridor that is known to host carbonatites. Now, carbonatites are an intrusive carbonate rock, really quite a peculiar rock for geologists. It's something that is known to be associated with rare earth elements. We're in a remote area, and so getting drilling going there can be a challenge. But despite that, the camp and the rig have been rapidly established, including drilling a new water bore and equipping that. The first hole has already been completed. We worked through that really quite rapidly. We had good core recovery. And we're now on to the second hole of an original planned 6 holes. In parallel with that, we've expanded our AMT surveys around these anomalies. Now, AMT is a geophysical technique that uses naturally occurring electrical activity to help define subsurface structures, often much deeper than traditional electromagnetic methods. So it's something that we're finding works really well and that Kavango and our consultants are getting great utility from.
That's very exciting indeed, Jen. So given all that you've done to date, what are the next steps now for Ditau Farms project?
Well, the way we like to look at our drill programs is to try and complete the overall program and assess the full picture from that. You can gain a certain amount from one drill hole, but by combining the various different elements from the different holes, you really build up more of a full picture. So the core will be sampled from each hole, sent for analysis, both chemically or in terms of assays, and also as thin section work. That's really having some mineralogists peering down a microscope, trying to understand exactly what the textures and minerals are in the rock.
Okay. Well, on now then to Kavango's biggest project, the KSZ, Kalahari Suture Zone, which is, of course, is a north-south trending 450 kilometre by 50 kilometre magnetic anomaly in southwest Botswana. 10 drill core intersections from the recent drilling campaign underwent detailed petrological evaluation by SJT Metmin with positive results. I'm going to bring a slide up, gentlemen. What do these results look like?
So the main point to comment on here, Alan, is that we've got the first physical evidence of the potential, and I've got to emphasize the word here, potential for mineralized systems within the KSZ. Up until this point, pretty much all of the work that's been done historically in the KSZ has been lacking this one ingredient. So when we set out on this proof of concept drill campaign last year, our primary objective was to get drill core to demonstrate that we're looking in the right area for nickel copper and for copper mineralization. Now, obviously, our primary target in the past has been the Karoo Age gabbros, which are much closer to surface. But one of the big surprises of this campaign was what we discovered down in the Proterozoic. On our second hole that we drilled, TA2 DD002, we took that hole down to 650 meters to intercept the Proterozoic, which was modeled by Hillary, had been modeled very successfully by Hillary. And we hit it at 651 meters, which was pretty much near as damn it a bullseye. We then went through about 350 meters of really altered, very interesting looking Proterozoic rock. And the results that we've had that have come back so far that are in that preliminary petrology report you've talked about have confirmed that in target area A, we've got a system there that looks very, very appealing for nickel copper sulfides. Meanwhile, up in the Great Red Spot, which is 25 kilometers to the northwest of target area A, which is one of the big magnetic anomalies that's been known about for a very long time in the KSZ, In the first hole that we drilled, which again was another 1,000-meter hole, our target there was to get to the Proterozoic, retrieve Proterozoic cores, so we could see, get an understanding of the nature of those rocks. And in this instance, what's quite interesting about this is the results that have come back have said that these rocks look more prospective for copper mineralization. Now, there's a lot more that we're going to be releasing about this in the near future. We've talked about a secondary mineralized target and a secondary mineralized model that we're developing. We're going to be releasing some news on that in the not too distant future. This is in the public domain already. But so far, it's all looking very, very exciting. And the leads that we've picked up have helped us confirm that the technology that we're using is correct. We've obviously worked with the right drill partners. Mindea Exploration and Drilling Services have worked wonders for us in terms of the work that they've done. We're now the first company that's ever drilled successfully 4 consecutive deep holes in the KSZ that have all surpassed the original end of hole targets. So this really was a great technical success for us, and we're really looking forward to releasing the full reports on obviously what we've discovered so far. But in the meantime, what we've also done, because we now have a lot more confidence in the way that we're using the TDEM technology and also the AMT. The AMT has been a bit of a new development for us over recent months. It's a technology that we have deployed in the past, but we've learned a hell of a lot more about it under Jeremy Brett's guidance. He's brought in some experts from Florida, or an expert from Florida, who's helping us do some really quite sophisticated modeling with the data. So we're getting much, much clearer views of the structures and the morphology, so the shapes of the rock systems that we're looking at under the ground. And it's all turning into a very, very exciting development. Of course, we've made a few mistakes along the way, and we'll be putting those in our report as well. There's a few sort of ideas that we have had that didn't work out. But even those have ended up being useful exploration leads. The false positives are telling us about things not to do in the future. So we're going to present a very comprehensive, very honest piece of work, which is going to really show how the next phase of exploration, which is going to be target acquisition, this is where we're really going to go for it in the KSZ. We're going to identify as many high priority drill targets as we can in the quest for seeking actual mineralization, so ore bodies. That's what we're going for.
Super. And of course, this is a vast area, isn't it? I mean, you're probably just scratching a tiny area, or you've just engaged with a tiny area compared to the rest of the area, and presumably similar potential exists elsewhere.
Well, you make a really good point. And again, this is one of the things that we're going to be updating. In 2020, we created our first underground model, our 3D magnetic model of the KSZ. That's going through a massive overhaul at the moment, a really significant upgrade. So we've got some work that we're really looking forward to publish there on the northern section of the KSZ. But there's also the southern section of the KSZ as well, historically been very underexplored. And we believe that the Proterozoic in the south is closer to surface. Now, there's obviously more work that we need to go to do and demonstrate this. But in terms of sort of scratching the surface, we've been very specific about the areas we've gone for. We've been very targeted in our work historically. That's one side of the historic exploration campaign that has actually been very successful. I think we have actually chosen the right areas to work in to begin with. And really now it's a case of trying to find mineralized bodies within the model that we've developed of the Proterozoic.
Of course. So on now to your copper interests, and Kavango's copper interests lie in northwest Botswana in the Kalahari Copper Belt, where the group again shares interest in 2 licenses, firstly with Power Metal Resources, and of course a further 2 licenses with locally based LVR Geo Explorers. I've got a slide here too, gentlemen. What do you have planned for the KCB in the near future?
Well, the KCB overall is a really exciting area. I was recently out there. I saw just how much is going on at the moment. There are multiple new mines opening. And in fact, there was mention this week of Anglo taking a very serious look at Sandfire's holdings over there. We've got a significant work programme underway on the KCB, the Kalahari Copper Belt. It's a combination of traditional mapping. Sometimes people are very keen to work on the computer, but actually older style exploration also has its place as well. So blending that in with soil geochemistry, with interpreting the extensive geophysical data that we've already got, combining that all together will give us the picture that we need to really hone our targets and rank them, so that when we come to drill, we give ourselves the best possible opportunity of success. We are hoping or expecting to do an RC drill program later in the year. in the past on other licenses in the area. That has been an extremely successful exploration technique, and has led to the identification of commercial deposits. So we're in the right neighbourhood. We're applying the right techniques. We've got the right team in place, giving ourselves the best possible opportunity for success there. And more strategically, the Kalahari Copper Belt, what it is known for is relatively high grades of copper. More and more around the world, as there is pressure for low carbon emission metal production to meet our metal needs for the green industrial revolution, what is the most straightforward way of achieving that? Well, it is starting off with a higher grade ore. If you can have an ore that is 2 or 3 times the grade of an average ore, then that could lead through to a very substantial reduction in carbon emissions. And in the long term, that's going to give you commercial benefits as well, because as we're all seeing, energy prices are going up. There will be a cost associated with emissions. Long-term grade is what it's going to be about.
Of course. Well, that's a great presentation there, gentlemen. So back to what investors can expect, and just looking near term, can you summarise what investors can expect to see in the coming months in terms of key value inflection points?
Well, of course, there's the drill campaign down at Ditau. So we've completed the first hole. We're now into the second hole. It's a 6-hole program that we expect is going to take us up until the end of June. And we've just announced today, Alan, of course, that we've extended the program to include additional AMT. So we're hoping to have some good visuals that we can put out just to show people what we're actually looking at in the future targets and also in the current targets as well. So carbonatites, as Brett said, are a bit on the complex side. So quite what we'll report, it's going to depend on what we actually see down there. But there's obviously, with the drill rig live in the field, there's plenty of potential there for news flow. Up in the KSZ, we're obviously at the moment we're conducting TDEM over the B1 conductor area. Results are due for that in the near future. We're also going to start conducting more TDEM over the KSZ. As I said earlier, our goal now is target acquisition. We're going to really sort of open up now with TDEM coverage. We only did 9 TDEM surveys over the KSZ. To give you an idea, we think it would take 75 TDEM surveys to cover the areas we're interested in the northern section and a further 55 in the southern section. So we've really only scratched the surface so far. And obviously the great thing about the TDEM is that we've had about a 1 in 3 hit rate. So of the 9 surveys that we ran last year, we got 3 drill targets, one of which is increasingly looking like an extremely high priority target, which of course is the B1 conductor, which we're about to remodel. We've got the new mineralization model, which again, we talked about in the past. We're going to be releasing information about that in the near future. There's quite a lot of work that's gone into that, various surveys that we've completed. So we've done the gravity, the AMT, and of course, the interpretation of the magnetic data. And then, of course, there's going to be further work down in the KSZ South as well. We've got the updated regional model that Hillary is finalising, so version 2.0 of our underground model. And then we're going to be working very, very hard towards making the project partner ready. So this is a new phrase that we're starting to use at Kavango. We're really looking at the KSZ in terms of making it ready to start to bring partners in to take the project forward. Because as you touched on earlier, Alan, it's a massive, massive project. We've done extremely well to bring it as far as we have. We can take it through the next stages. We know what we're doing with the technology to do target acquisition, but really to open up on this project properly, it's going to require some additional financing and of course, partners to come in. So we've got some very specific ideas around that. And then up in the KCB, we've obviously got the programs that Brett was talking about. Now, obviously, I know we've been a bit quiet on the KCB. It will become clear in the future sort of why we've been quiet on that. But as I keep on saying to people, the KCB, in terms of our internal resource in the company, has been our highest priority for the last 12 months. 80% of our teams are up working and have been up working in the KCB. So this is the one I think to keep an eye on over the coming months as the results start to come in and we look to mobilise that second rig into the field.
Well, Ben and Brett, it really feels as though Kavango is on the cusp of something great. Just remains for me to say thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks very much, Alan.